In a previous video, we talked about using Cockpit to summarize your projects on a very macro level, a very high-level overview. But let's get into the management side of Cockpit now, the side that will help you manage everything on a project level. Let's start with the project overview. You'll see some basics regarding this project: the name of the project, status, a description, budget, duration, who the client managers are. So these are the people who are on your end who will be interacting with this project. So basically the delivery team. And also who the top coder project managers are. So these are your top coder resources. You can add people to this project and also grant different levels of access using the edit icon in the top right. In the active contests health area, I can see an overview of all the competitions that are running in this project. So these are all the pieces that are being created to get this project to completion. Most of the colored dots are for your co-pilots, and you won't really need to worry about them, but you can hover over each dot to see a description of that item. And you can also access the area by using the hyperlinks in the pop-ups. When I scroll down, you'll see we have our project co-pilots and also our project stats. So before, we were looking at graphs and stats on a company-wide basis. But here, this is information that is for this project only. Moving on to project forums. So this is how you'll communicate with your co-pilots. As a best practice, it's the way that we recommend doing all your communicating within Topcoder. There are a couple different levels of forums. We have the co-pilot forum, which you'll use when you select a co-pilot to run your first project. Then we have the project forums, which you see here, and also the contest forums. These forums are used once your co-pilot has been selected and you have begun talking about running competitions within your project. The contest forums are where competitors ask questions and talk about strategy and requirements as if they were sitting in the room with one another. The majority of the time, your co-pilot will answer questions on your behalf and participate actively in the contest forums. The project forums is where you'll spend most of your time. There are a few exceptions to this, however. In our conceptualization competitions and other highly client-driven competitions, you'll need to be more active in the contest forums. But the majority of the time, you'll be in the project forums. So the project forums is where you'll talk back and forth with your co-pilot. You can ask questions, ask for updates, or just check in to see where everything stands. This is also where your co-pilot will escalate questions from the competitors from the contest forums that he could not answer. He'll answer the question, and then your co-pilot will take the answer back to the competitor in the contest forum. Use the forums to create a virtual paper trail of documentation on questions and dialogue. These forums are never deleted, so you can essentially replay the project at any time by going back and looking at these forums. That way, people are not buried in emails or instant messages, and everything is described with detail. And you're also able to catch all the chatter within the forums, so you have everything from start to finish. So if something were to go awry, or if you were adding more people to your project team, it's much easier to get them up to speed. Let's move over to our game plan. This is a Gantt chart, and it's filled out by your co-pilots. So you are not responsible for listing out this information. It will be filled in for you as your co-pilots vet out the specs and start to put together a timeline for your project. This is a really great tool because you can see that a lot of work gets done in parallel. The co-pilots are managing the parallel tasks through the community, and that's why this allows you to get a lot more done quickly. Your role in all of this is to manage the overall project and not get caught up in each one of these individual competitions. That's the co-pilot's job. You'll see that each competition in this project is listed along the left along with some basic information. But I can choose to close this left panel to see more of the game plan itself. You'll notice a lot of colors on this chart. Red is failed competitions, green are complete competitions, blue are active competitions, Gray are drafts that are intended to be run at some point but have not run yet. Now let's take a look at the numbers at the top. So finished, this is what the client has paid out. Active, this is what is currently running and what the estimated cost will be. So typically we estimate about 10% above what the actual cost will be. Drafts, so this is what is in the pipeline that is not yet started. So this is a really good way to project out your budget into the coming weeks or months. You can see here that I have about $2,600 that is already lined up to be spent. So because I know this information, I can plan ahead. Or if I know my budget is going to be tight in the coming months, I can communicate that with my co-pilots and see if we can push these out or maybe just run one at a time. Or on the other hand, if I have this money available now, I can see if they can run more things in parallel to get this project completed faster. Remember, you're only paying for successful outcomes, not drafts or failed competitions. Let's move on and talk about project milestones. Project milestones give a high-level overview of what needs to be done. They allow you to follow progress with the entire project instead of competition by competition. These milestones can be anything, maybe checkpoints within projects, beta releases, or some internal sign-off or approval that needs to be given. Common places for these points are UI design, QA cycles, or things along those lines.